Hey guys, welcome back to
How Did We Get Here? Today it's just me and Beth hanging out and chatting. One thing we've been talking a lot about recently is the little ways that God shows up in our lives, whether it's providing for us financially or just giving us something that gives us joy, and how the little things actually build our faith for the bigger things that He wants to do. And if you stick around to the end, we'll have a special segment, which is
little things that make you irrationally happy. We did a little comment question box on our Instagram, and this time people will get to hear from you guys anonymously, so stick around.
You might be mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the episode.
But first, I thought it would be super cool if we introduced you guys to what we call a heart check. So, Kelsey, how's your heart today?
My heart feels content and curious. How is your heart today?
My heart is, I feel like it's like a mixture of things, but I don't know why. Today I feel like I'm a little anxious, and I mean, like you said, content, but for some reason slightly anxious. Not sure why.
It's interesting how you can be both at once.
Yeah.
Like so content and also anxious.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Lord gives you like a weird peace, so you're like at peace, but you're not at the same time. It's weird.
Yeah. Like your soul is at peace, but your mind is spinning.
Yes. So maybe my mind is anxious, not my heart. Do you want to explain what a heart check is and like how we got started on that, I guess?
Yeah, so this is something we do a lot at church and in our small group or stirring group, and it's just a good way to start like a Bible study or a gathering with like slowing down and just kind of figuring out what's going on internally, because sometimes it can be hard to jump into something in the Bible or start talking about a topic if you haven't addressed how your heart is actually doing.
Yeah.
And then it helps like the group know how to pray for each other, how to relate to each other. If we need to pray over somebody, we can do that.
Yeah. And sometimes we put limits on it, sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we try to do a time limit and then everybody goes over.
Usually I think we try to stick to like 2 or 3 words or something.
2 or 3 words.
And then whatever the Lord shows you after that. But I think like Kelsey said, it's a really good like just assessment to pause for a second and be like, oh, I don't feel great, or actually I'm doing good, but I could go pray over somebody else and who needs my joy for the day or something.
And every time we do a heart check, it's actually wild. Every time that Dave is like, so let's do a heart check, it takes me a minute to sit back and go, how actually am I doing?
Yeah.
How is my heart? What's my heart? What's my mind? What's going on?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really healthy practice. So we encourage you, as you're listening, to take a moment and think, how is your heart?
Yeah.
And maybe share that with somebody.
And maybe challenge yourself to do it throughout the week, like either first thing in the morning or on your way home from work or whatever, just to settle yourself and see how you are truly doing. So, okay, one question for you real quick this week, Kelsey, is what is something the Lord is teaching you?
Oh my. I don't know.
Many things. No, I'm just kidding.
I think one thing that the Lord has been teaching me recently, and actually throughout the process of making this podcast, is I've had to evaluate where my value and my worth come from. And I'm just gonna be real honest in this moment that I care a lot about what people think and what people think of me and what I create and what I put out into the world.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the Lord has been teaching me to just say the words that He's given me to say. And when I feel like I want to overthink or panic or like re-listen to everything and make sure I didn't make a mistake, that I can take that to Him first, and I can ask Him like, Lord, what did you think about today's episode? Or even before the episode, what do you want me to say today? What do you not want me to say?
Yeah.
And then just be okay with making a mistake.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what the Lord has been teaching me. It's okay for me to be human and to make a mistake. And it's also okay for me to feel feelings about how people feel about that. And I can take that to the Lord and not let it overflow into the way I treat others.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like in that department, like, we are pretty opposite. Like, it's not that I don't care what people think. I just, like, have much more, like, grace for it, where I'm just, like, I don't overthink it. Like, and so it's really actually kind of funny. I'm just like, let's just do it. Let's go.
Just put it out there. Just post it. And I'm like,
just
no.
press send.
Yes, and I feel like that's why we're a good balance for each other, because you are so confident in, like, let's just do it, you know?
So funny story about this, actually. I'm sure that this is making you super nervous, but I posted a video of Kelsey and I rolling cinnamon rolls as a race, right? It was
cinnamon roll dough.
Cinnamon roll dough. We were rolling them for a fundraiser. And I just, like, took the liberty myself to post the video on TikTok and a couple other social media places. But the next morning I woke up and we had 18,000 views on our TikTok. And I immediately was like, don't tell Kelsey. Don't tell Kelsey. She's going to freak out. Oh, no. Don't tell Kelsey. But right now it's at 73,000 views. Slowed down a little bit, but...
Oh, you know, only 73,000 people watched me.
Like, I'm just like, when I told you, I was like, oh gosh, oh no, she's gonna freak out, oh no.
You know what's funny about that, though? If I had posted it, I think I would have had a little bit of anxiety. Since you posted it, I was like, oh yeah, let's go. So it must be just...
The Lord.
It must be the Lord. Yep.
Oh gosh.
What is one thing that the Lord has been teaching you lately? It better be as raw and honest as I was. Okay?
I think, like, something that he's been teaching me, like, long term. It's kind of like an onion. I always say this. It has so many layers, but I feel like he's just always showing me and continually showing me how he shows up as my provider. Like, it's just kind of crazy. So, like, I run a food truck, and it's pretty cold here. It's, like,
pretty cold.
Super, super cold.
Yeah.
And I had so many people asking me, what are you going to do for the winter? Are you going to be out here? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I literally, like, I had some things in mind that I could do, but I was like, I don't feel like momentum to go into that. Like, I don't feel direction here. Like, I was just going with the flow. And then I showed up to the board meeting to renew my contract for the kitchen that I use, and they were like, how about you just move inside for the winter? And I was like, oh, like, is that an option? Like, so it's just like constant. This is not as raw and open as you are, but like, it's just the Lord constantly showing up and reminding me that he's going to provide. Like, even when I think, oh crap, I cannot make any money this winter until February because who the heck's going to want to stand in the freezing cold to order a cinnamon roll, you know? Some people would, and they still do. But it was just like one of those things where I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. We are going to be so broke. We're going to end up homeless. Like, you know, just these things. And then the Lord was like, no, like, you could just do this. And then it's just like, oh, like, it just felt like such at ease. Like, oh, there is a place for me. And it does work and it fits in to what the Lord has planned. So, but I feel like he's been showing me that for like a year or more now. I mean, since it's been a year since I've been self-employed.
Yes, indeed.
I feel like that's something he's constantly reminding me of, is like, hey, I'm still here. Like, I'm still your provider. And I still have Jennifer Harvey in the back of my head. Good thing you never were the provider.
Yes, exactly.
So, anyways, yeah. And that is just like one of the like many little ways that he has showed me that he's still there. And I don't have to worry about it. Like, I can just ask him and he'll provide something. So, yeah.
And I feel like that goes really well with what we're talking about today, like the little ways that God shows that he loves us and that he cares, that he sees us. And like sometimes it's these huge miracles, but sometimes it's just the little moments where you're going about your day and then you prayed for something small and God shows up, or you just thought about something you didn't even think to pray and God like gives it to you or shows it to you, or just lets you know that he's there. He sees you.
Yeah. And those are my favorite, actually. like I love when God comes through on the really big things, but I love the little things that sustain us in between in that period. Like, I don't know. Okay, so one of my like recent not encounters, like things with the Lord was I had been baking all day. I was so hungry. Kind of like Saturday, I was so hungry. I'm like, I need something besides sugar. Yes. Anyways, I was dreaming in my head about tater tots and the smell of tater tots, and I was so excited. I was like, I just want some tater tots. But we live in a really small town. You can't just like go up and order tater tots somewhere to go. Like I was going home. I'm not sitting down at a restaurant ordering tater tots, okay? Yeah. So I went to the grocery store, our small town little grocery store, and they have a deli there that occasionally has food, occasionally just has pizza and chicken strips, like, which is food, but that's all you get, like chicken strips and pizza. So I was like, I'm going to go straight for this freezer section. I'm going to get tater tots, and I don't care what we're having for dinner. We're having tater tots for dinner. Like, we're just going to do that. And I grabbed like the biggest bag of tater tots. I was like, yes, let's go. And I grabbed them and I was like, I'm so hungry I could pass out. So no. I need to grab food. And I hadn't told anybody about my extreme craving for tater tots. Yeah, I hadn't told anyone. And so I was like, let me go see what kind of chicken strips and pizza they have today sitting over here. In the stinking little deli warmer, there was a freaking cup of tater tot casserole. It was like my heart's desire just right in front of me. And it was like one of those moments. And I know like some people think this is silly, but like, you know, like over spiritualized. And Jesus doesn't really give you tater tots. But in the moment, I literally was like, thank you, Jesus. And I think there was someone standing close by now that I think about it, because I was just like so overly happy of tater tot casserole. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. And I like grabbed this tater tot casserole. I like put the other tater tots back and I ate that. It was so good. But like you could feel the Lord in it. Like there was so much. And I was just like him being like, here, like you can eat tater tots now if you want. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to eat that whole 5-pound bag you just grabbed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Here's a single serving of tots.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't know why, but it is a weird little thing, but at the moment it was a desire of my heart. Mm-hmm. And it just really felt like a reminder to me that the Lord really does care about my heart. Mm-hmm. And so this goes back to like a heart check kind of situation. Like he knew in the moment, like whatever I was going to go do, that's what my heart desired. Mm-hmm. And he just fulfilled that. And yeah, it's so stinking little, and it probably is silly to some people, but I was so excited about tater tot casserole.
Yeah. And if God cares enough about you to provide tater tot casserole when that was your one and only craving, how much more will he come through for you in the big things?
Exactly.
And the moments when you don't know how you're going to get the money or the finances or whatever it is that you need.
Exactly.
He just wants you to know, like,
have some tater tots.
Have some tots.
Yeah. And that's what I love about like when he does the little things, because I always think of it as a sustaining. So like whether I'm waiting for like something big to happen or something, whatever I'm waiting for the Lord to come through in, like I feel like he always shows up in those little tiny things, just like as a reminder, hey.
Yeah, the things you might miss if you're not looking for them or thinking about them. Yeah,
exactly. And like a lot of people, I feel like, do miss those because they're not like open to the idea of Jesus giving them tater tot casserole.
Yeah.
You know? They're like, the Lord wouldn't give me tater tot casserole. That's too little. He would.
This is Beth's testimony. The Lord can give you tater tots.
Yes. Do you have any similar like experiences?
Yeah, I have one that I was sharing at women's group the other day from when I was a kid, so this isn't super recent, but I guess I can still share it.
And I do think, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. I do think that this is a practical example of how to ask the Lord for the little things. So yeah, anyways, like something to implement into everyone's life just because I already know the story, so.
Yeah, that's in the insider track on this one. But when I was about 10, I was homeschooled, and we were learning about this man named George Mueller, who owned orphanages in England and was just a radical follower of Jesus. And him and all these kids that lived in the orphanage would sit down at empty tables at breakfast, lunch, and dinner and just thank God for the food that they didn't have yet. And say, thank you, Lord, for providing the food we need. And miraculous things would happen, like the milk cart would break down outside and suddenly all this milk has to be given away. Or a baker was woken up at 3 a.m., told to make this many loaves of bread and bring them to the orphanage. He didn't know why, and that would be their food for the day. And so my mom gave us a challenge to ask God for something or multiple things that we needed, but not to tell anybody else, to just tell the Lord. And at the time, we were getting ready to move to Africa, so we were support raising, speaking at churches up and down the West Coast. And my dad had just quit his, really good corporate job that he'd had for 22 years. And we're in this gap, kind of like you said with the trailer, of how are we going to make it? And so I needed winter clothes, and we needed food for our family and heat for our house. And so those are the things I started praying for and telling the Lord, and didn't tell anybody else. Well, a couple weeks later at a family gathering, one of my great aunts came up to my parents and handed them a check and said, I am not sure why, but I feel like the Lord wants this to go towards heating your house. And then we were speaking at a church a few weeks later, and one of the ladies from the church came up to me and said, I was just praying for you, and I feel like the Lord wants me to take you to the store and buy you all new winter clothes. And then shortly after that, there was a lady from a church in our town that we didn't know personally, but had mutual friends, who came to our door with a bag of food and said, my family doesn't need this, and was wondering if yours would like it. And we said, yes, please, because there was Kraft mac and cheese in those bags. And that was good stuff. Like stuff that we would never buy for ourselves.
Like, I love Kraft.
Yes, exactly. And she proceeded to bring a bag of food and just drop it on our porch and run away every week for a year. So not only did
so cool.
God answer in that moment, but continued to answer over that gap where we weren't sure what we were going to do. And so as a 10-year-old, I feel like that's the first time that I really believed that God could provide for me.
Yeah.
And that he heard my requests and he heard my heart. And I feel like that's just such a cool way to, if you have kids, or
even as an adult, because I'm going to do it now.
For anybody. Just a good challenge. Like, it's such a faith-building thing when you pray for something and God comes through. And even if it looks different than you thought, or it doesn't happen in the way that you wanted, like, to be able to see how God did provide for you. Yeah. So I feel like it's still, I think about that quite often. And that was, how many years ago? I don't know. A lot of years ago. But
it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was so significant. So, yeah, kids can really communicate with God, and they can really sense his power in a way that maybe adults can't sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that is, like you said, a really good tool, like to show kids how God is real. Like, because a lot of times they don't see it, or it's just like something they watch their parents do. They're like, oh, I don't know why we do this. I just watch my parents do it. I don't know why we pray for this. Like, my parents just did it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah. But they don't ever know the real power of the Lord. But if, like, so I implemented this with the boys last night, actually.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to see, like, what happens in that. But like, if they're praying for something that I have no idea what they're praying for, and then it happens, like, that makes the Lord so real for them. Yes. And I'm so excited to see, like, where the Lord takes the boys in that. Like, I don't know. I just think that's such a good, like, easy way to show our kids that God is so real. And even as an adult, like, if you just want some tater tot casserole, you should probably just pray for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Or Kraft mac and cheese.
Or Kraft mac and cheese, mainly Kraft mac and cheese. And probably, like, Little Debbie's or something. That
exactly.
But one more that was more recent, I guess. kind of similar to tater tot casserole, where I wasn't necessarily praying for this,
right.
but the Lord just knew my heart. I went to Zambia recently to visit my mom, who is here in town now, so
Yay.
that's exciting. She came yesterday.
Hello, shout out to you, because I know you're going to listen.
Yes. Hello, Mom. She's our faithful listener.
Just one.
Just our one faithful listener. But anyway, I went to visit her, and there's something so different about being in Africa, which you will soon get to experience. Because
Yes.
Beth and I are going to Uganda together
Yes,
in
we
January.
are.
Very exciting. But one thing I love about Africa is the cars that people drive. I don't know why. It makes me irrationally happy. It really does. When I was growing up in Kenya, we had a 1970 Land Rover. It was green. It was beautiful. It was the clankiest car you'll ever drive and was really sketch, honestly, but I loved it. And you could fix that thing with a zip tie, you know?
Great.
Yeah, it's a great thing about the old cars. And so I decided when I went to Zambia this time, because I was kind of looking for a new car, because we both know my
Red is
old
gone.
car's trash. Sorry, Lil Red. I didn't mean that, but I also did. So I started taking pictures of cars that I liked, just on the roads. And I made an album in my phone called I Like That Car. So I came back to the States, and I'm looking through these pictures, and they're pretty much all white Toyotas. I mean, there's some variation in there, like some Land Rovers and, you know, cool things like that. But for the most part, they were all Toyotas, and they were all white.
Yeah.
And
kind of like an SUV truck type-ish thing.
what would you even call that?
I have no idea.
Okay, if you're in Africa right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The cars that everybody drives because they last so long. Like,
Yeah.
Toyotas are great.
Yeah.
And then one of our friends happened to be selling a Toyota 4Runner here. And I had said no to that before because I was like, I just don't know. Whatever. Lil Red is chugging along kind of half-heartedly, making it through life.
Yeah.
But Lil Red was no longer chugging along. And so I ended up buying that car. And it's cool driving that car around now.
It looks exactly like your pictures.
It looks exactly like the pictures. And it wasn't like I was praying for that specific car, but like I was just gathering, here's the evidence of like what I like, and God was like, here you
Which,
go.
by the way, if you know Kelsey, like the pictures of the cars that she likes just don't fit.
What kind of car did you expect me to want?
I don't know, like a little one, like I don't know,
Like a Prius,
like a sedan or something. I don't know. Not
interesting.
Definitely not a
Like
Prius.
a Subaru sort of thing.
Yeah, or definitely not the pictures that you showed me.
Interesting. It's my African roots. I
Yeah,
have to
it
tell
definitely
you.
is.
It is. Yes, it shows through. I did have a Prius once though.
I don't see that. I don't like that.
Wow.
I don't know why, but it just...
I loved my Prius.
Priuses remind me of Rebecca, which they fit Rebecca really well.
Yes.
They don't fit Kelsey.
Interesting. Well, I loved my Prius. But
Well, that's just another way the Lord's showing up, even like when you're not praying about it. Like, He knows the desire of your heart is to have this African-looking vehicle driving around in America.
Yeah, dude.
And he was just like, here, you can have it now if you want it. Like, I already offered it to you once before, but you were stubborn. You know what I mean?
And sometimes, like, it takes looking at, like, okay, here are the things that I really enjoy, and then coming back to, like, an option that was already there.
Yeah.
And being like, oh,
yeah,
that actually is what I want.
wanted.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, so that's really cool, actually. I like that. I didn't know about your photo album of cars.
Yes.
Till now.
I like that car. That's the name of the album.
I like that car. We did a little poll. What would you say?
Question box.
Question box on our Instagram, and the question was, "What are little things that make you irrationally happy?"
Yes.
And we have quite a good list. You guys were awesome. You made me like have to go to a second page over here.
Yes. Good job, guys.
Yes. So Kelsey and I, did you write some down or no?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go through some of them, and some of these are actually things that make me irrationally happy too. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, I'll read the ones from Instagram, and then we can discuss ours. Okay, so in no particular order, but I went down in the way that you commented. So new chapstick.
Oh yes.
I love a good new chapstick. It's just like it's so flat. You know, when you open...
Flat and spiky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Concave.
And if I'm going to say this wrong, I'm so sorry. Skeins of wool.
Skeins of wool.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I mean,
nice.
if you're a knitter, I guess.
Knitting, crocheting.
Sounds like a cozy cup of coffee day.
Yes, it does.
Beautiful scenery is actually one of mine, and I feel like I can meet the Lord so well in a beautiful scenic, like looking at his masterpiece kind of thing.
Yes.
Watching sports.
Sorry, but no. I mean, I don't mean to yuck your yay. So, I mean, that is amazing. I'm so happy for you.
There are only certain sports that I find entertaining. Watching them on the TV is not one of them. Also, we found a new sport on ESPN this weekend, by the way. A little plug here.
Is it
Just
broomball?
kidding. No.
Oh.
What do you think it is? The most random thing.
Rugby.
Nope. It's not even like a real sport, I wouldn't even say. But it is on ESPN Ocho.
Is it like log tossing?
Professional pillow fighting.
What?
It's a
This
thing.
is a real sport?
It's a real thing.
That makes me irrationally happy.
So we were watching it in between the commercials of the football game Sunday, and then we would flip to professional pillow fighting. My parents were like, "What are you watching?" But it was just something Braun found, like professional pillow fighting. And I looked it up. It's a real thing. They have like a 2-pound weighted pillow.
Oh my gosh.
And people can get knocked out from it.
This is how we're going to get fit.
Yeah.
2-pound weighted pillows, and we're just going to
pillow fight.
Yes.
Ethan told me one of his friends would be really good at it
Yes.
because he's a really good pillow fighter.
Yes.
So
There you go.
Friends that are like family, which
Yes.
I also love that. That makes me irrationally happy. Holding a baby.
Yes.
Now, as I was writing this one, I was thinking of certain instances where holding a baby makes me irrationally happy. Because some of them, I'm just like, I'm holding a baby.
Or they spit up on you and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but I love holding a baby while they're sleeping, and I'm also like relaxed, you know?
Yes.
And the other scenario is if the mom just like needs a break and doesn't want to hold a baby anymore. Like, because I've been there and I'm like, okay, I get that. Like, let me just hold your baby for you. That makes me really happy because I like to help people.
Yes.
But like, if I'm just like randomly holding a baby, I'm just like,
Oh, I would be filled with joy at any instance of holding a baby. What I love, like you said, holding a sleeping baby is when you're holding a baby and they're awake, but then you feel the moment that they settle and they fall asleep and they get real heavy.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing too. This one's for you, I'm assuming. Eating fritters from Zambia.
Yes.
What is a fritter?
I love the fritas. They're
What
just
is that?
so nice. It's like a donut, like a fried bread.
Oh, like we're going to learn how to make?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hopefully.
Okay. Hot drinks.
Yes.
I don't really feel that one. It's not really my thing, but I do love coffee.
That's a hot drink.
Yeah, but
Most of the time.
it doesn't make me... Okay, I guess sometimes coffee makes me irrationally happy.
Yeah, like, do you ever have that day... Well, you drink black coffee, so you wouldn't understand. But for those of you who don't drink black coffee, when you get the perfect ratio of, like, your half and half and your sweetener, and you just take the first sip, and you're like, this is perfection in a cup.
Yeah, sometimes I feel that, but sometimes I just want a good cup of black coffee.
Wow.
Yeah. Thrift shopping.
Yes.
I also love thrift shopping. Keyboards.
Oh.
Like clicky keyboards?
Okay,
Is that
are
what
we
you're talking about?
Pianos or are we talking keyboards? Both. Endless amounts of irrational happiness.
I
Have
love
you
the
ever-
noise that it makes.
Yes, and the feeling... It's fine. The feeling when, like, you get a really nice, like... I'm talking a shallow clicky keyboard.
Oh.
Not the deep clicks. You want
Okay.
the shallow clicks. And then
Interesting.
if you're wearing nails of any kind
Yes.
and they're clickety-clacking, this is why I wanted to work at the dollar store as a kid. Because the ladies with their clickety-clackety nails on their cash register keyboards...
I feel like you have such a great impression of the ladies that work at the dollar store.
I'm sure they're all very reputable ladies, okay?
Okay, boxes like you find in Hobby Lobby with the magnets. I'm assuming they're talking about the lids that magnetize clothes. It's like not cardboard, and they're decorative.
Okay.
I think this is what they're talking about. Otherwise, I have no idea.
I mean, boxes, yeah.
Please give us your input if you're listening.
What do you mean by boxes?
What do you mean boxes? Define boxes.
A good box, though, that can spark some joy.
Yeah. Mixing paint.
Oh, interesting.
artist of some sort, I'm assuming.
Or they just mix paint for fun, Beth.
Maybe they work at like Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yep.
They don't.
Our audience is exclusively Home Depot and Lowe's employees.
When my cats cuddle with me on a cold day.
Aww.
I don't like cats, so.
Oh, wow. I like cats. They are scratchy, though. Those claws just be all up everywhere.
Nope, don't like that. Nope.
Yeah.
Cats are psychotic. Culver's, which is delicious. Have you ever eaten at Culver's? I
think
love
I've had
their
Culver's
chicken.
once. I had their cheese curds. They were great.
Yeah, those are good too.
Yeah.
And they have good ice cream. Okay, my number one favorite and the last one. This has always brought me joy. If my childhood best friend is listening, she understands. Stepping on a leaf laying on the sidewalk and it's good and crunchy.
Oh, good and crunchy.
Yes, those are the best kind of leaves. Good and
Yes.
crunchy. Okay, Kelsey, what are some things that make you irrationally happy?
Well, a lot of them were actually in that list, but
Yeah.
here's some that weren't covered. Wood stoves.
Oh, like a fireplace,
I love,
wood stove.
like a
yes.
fireplace wood stove. We have one in our house here. I love parking my car after work, and I get out of my car and I can smell the wood smoke coming from the chimney. It is so cozy. Waking up to the sunrise.
Oh yeah, I do like
Not
that.
that I wake up for the sunrise, let's be very clear. I like the time of year when I am awoken by the sun hitting my face because I have no curtain on my window for this very reason.
Oh.
Yes. Reading to kids. Need I say more? So cozy.
Yeah.
You don't like reading to kids?
Maybe my own kids.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those people where like I don't really like other people's kids.
Will you like my
I do.
kids?
Yeah, probably. It's not that I don't like them. I just like wouldn't like voluntarily go hang out with them.
No.
Like I would never be a teacher or a volunteer at the school.
Yeah.
That's not happy for me.
That makes sense. It does not make you irrationally happy.
No.
It makes you irrationally annoyed.
Yeah. Irrationally anxious.
Yes. Golden hour, of course, when just the light hits the snow or the grass in that specific way.
Yep.
Seasonal playlists. I love to make a fall playlist every year.
You would.
I do. I love to make a Christmas playlist, and it's not about like the words necessarily, it's the feeling of the song. So the songs have to feel the same.
Interesting.
I have some good ones. If you want them, let me know. I'll send them to you.
As long as it's not like Jingle Bells, I can't do that.
Not Jingle Bells. No, I have a playlist called Good Christmas. No, it's called Best Christmas, actually. And it's like not Here Comes Santa Claus, because who needs that in their life?
Yeah.
Okay, mugs.
Oh, I do love mugs.
Oh my gosh.
Mugs
I
are my
get a new
favorite.
Christmas mug every year with my college friends.
Yes.
I have mine already, actually. Spoiler alert. Coffee, we already covered that. Anything in nature, you guys said this too. Chick-fil-A. Similar, I'm sure, to the love of Culver's.
Yeah.
A good chicken sandwich, Chick-fil-A sauce, waffle fries, chocolate shake.
Yeah.
I didn't get Chick-fil-A yesterday, which was really sad.
That is really sad.
Whatever, but whatever. Making dinner with friends. And the last thing that I have written down is just jokes or puns in the wild. Like that other people make puns or jokes and I can catch it and I'm like,
You're like, I got
nice.
that. Sometimes I'm a little slow to the puns in the wild.
Yeah.
That takes me a minute sometimes. Not always though. I don't have many more to add to the list. Like I already said, my number one is crunchy leaves. I love a good crunchy leaf. Olives, black olives specifically, make me irrationally happy. I love when I see black olives in something. Love that. There was something on your list, not Chick-fil-A. Oh, this is random, but a steak from Applebee's, I do not know why, makes me so happy. And it's not even a good steak. But maybe it's because I used to work at Applebee's and it just brings back the memories. Yeah. I don't know.
Brings back a season of life.
Steak from Applebee's. I think that's about it. Well, I mean, minus like the classic, like watching my kids' face light up for things or like watching them do something that makes them happy. That makes me irrationally happy. That's about it.
I feel like there are so many more that we haven't covered.
But I do love a good coffee mug. If you ever want to gift me a coffee mug.
Oh, I do want to gift you a coffee mug.
I love it.
Okay,
especially if they have good sayings on them.
Okay.
And like a really pretty color. Not like the thin, cheap ones. I like the big, thick ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do love a good
handle
coffee.
shape preference?
No.
Wow. Okay. Do you like it to like... I mean, the people can't see what I'm doing with my hands. Do you like it to be
Pyramid?
slightly more pyramid shaped, like narrow at the top, wide at the bottom, or the other way, or just regular up and down mug?
Either way. Yeah, I don't discriminate against
Yes.
coffee mugs.
Comment down below the ideal coffee mug.
Yes.
I'm curious to know.
Mm-hmm. Or where you get the best ones.
Yes.
If you have a specific store.
World Market has some great ones, actually. TJ Maxx. Oh my gosh, treasure trove for mugs.
Oh, I need to look there.
Mm-hmm.
Amber got me some that I really love, so I'll have to ask her where she got those. But
Yes.
anyways, anything else?
I think that was it.
All right. Well, thanks guys for joining in with us today and talking about some little things that make us happy, or like seeing God in the little things. And if you have a cool story about, similar to tater tot casserole, or whatever Kelsey shared.
Wow, you've already forgotten? That's why you were really listening.
Comment them below, because we would love to hear those, and those actually make me irrationally happy.
Yes.
Like stories about the little things and the little way that God shows up to you. So comment those down below too.
And maybe we'll read them on a future episode.
Yes. All right. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Since we can see you.
Yeah, see you. See you at all. Ever.